Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We are here with another Alliance War video, and this is going to be the first war of the new season, season 57, and in war number 1, AOH has matched GOW, or Gods of War, and today we have a pretty cool teams, that I have never done before, and we are going to be bringing Hood and Mojo on both teams. Normally what I do is on my main account, I'll have Hood, and then for like 1 or 2 fights, and then on my alt, I'll have Hood and a synergy team and take like 8 fights. That's the average war for me, is like 5 or 6 on my main, 8 on my alt. And I actually didn't plan this war. For the first time in a while, I did not plan the war because I was not available, or yeah, I think that was the day I had an exam. I don't remember. Either way, I didn't plan the war, so this was just what was assigned to me. And we have this Titania this Enchantress once again on this node 12, the auto block node. This is a fight I've taken many times with Titania. Straightforward, you just have to react according to what the spells are, use your haymaker to remove the spells, including the intercept, to get your guaranteed intercept, and then you just want to throw your special attacks before your charges run out so that you don't lose combat power rate. The only difference that makes in a fight like this is fight time. Like, you just obviously get more damage when you have more debuffs from your special one, and also your debilitate makes it so that your other debuffs stay longer. So for example, you can safely land 3 attacks during the parry stun while you have the debilitate up, but you can only land 2 light attacks safely while it's not up. So here we're throwing another special one. We're just trying to force Enchantress to her special 2 right now, because obviously that is not going to give her spells, and it's just better for your damage cycle. I think here we're going to throw another special 1. Yep, there we go. And this fight is almost down. We just have to do maybe like parry and then 2 more combos and the fight should be over. And then I think, yeah, right there we were about to relic, but she went down. Minute 46. I've seen other counters to that fight, but for me personally, Titania is my preferred option, and whenever my BG sees that placement, I'm always the one to take it because I've never died to it. But I know there's other options. I know Photon works, and I know Void works as well. So we do have 3 Titania fights to start off the war. We have this Kindred up next, and Kindred is on the regeneration unblockable and high energy diet node. Kindred does not, in his own abilities, have regeneration, so the only regeneration he could, I guess, yeah, he can't get any regeneration here if he doesn't have it in his base kit. But the whole point of this node is to punish regeneration from the base kit, not from the node. That's on the other node. But we're just going to play Kindred normally, pause his charges so we don't take too much damage. We went for an L2 first so that we get a physical vulnerability up, because normally you don't want to get to your special 3 against Kindred, because if that pushes you into the root, obviously you're not going to have a special available to remove the root right away. But I actually make a mistake, and I think right here I'm going to throw this L2. Or like maybe right here. I don't know why I did that. I knew it would, if not push into the root, almost push into the root. And I'm going to take tons of damage. Like, I'm going to take a lot of degen damage because I was just stupid. I should have thrown the special 1 instead of the special 2 and saved a special. But I took 0 hits in that fight. I lost about 55% of my health just to the degen damage because I mishandled it. So, not very smart, but we got through the fight. This one's going to be awful. Shocker on Buffet is such an easy matchup for Titania. I'd say Titania is probably the best counter here. And I've done this before, and it's gone well. Unfortunately, I'm going to let Shocker throw a couple special ones. The way I personally prefer to play against Shocker on literally any node is I prefer to never let him throw a single special one, because now that he's throwing special ones, he's getting his charges. And yeah, you can remove them by intercepting, but it's just easiest if you push him to the special 2. If you need an opening, maybe you bait a heavy attack, which drains some of his charges, but you just never want to get in the situation where you're constantly having to intercept him, because that is when he becomes a dangerous defender. Not any other time. That's how he becomes a dangerous defender. So I think right here, probably going to use my haymaker to get a guaranteed intercept. But we can't, because the one hit that I need to soak up to get the guaranteed intercept, the assisted intercept, of course, triggers a stun on his medium, which is not a super high chance to happen, but I knew was possible. Now he's regenerating. Now he's at 100 charges, which means I can no longer remove his charges by intercepting. So now we are just going to have to play against a basically fully unblockable Shocker, who, like, that was just wonderful as well. Of course, with all the debuffs on him, he still decides to throw a special 1 into me, like, while I have Intimidate up, which is just so funny. You're so funny, Shocker. And yeah, stuns on the L1, because of course it does. Because if it didn't stun, my heavy still would have landed, and he would have died from that L3. But the Titania fights are over, so I guess it's okay. We have a few mini-bosses here. We have this Medusa on the first node, or this is what, Mixmaster, so node 40. With Hood, pretty straightforward fight. I actually had another fight on this mini-boss island that you'll see later. But this Medusa, really straightforward fight with Hood. As soon as you get to your first L2, the fight's basically over, because the only defensive threat Medusa has is her auto block, and Hood obviously counters that, because even before you get to your L2 to Fate Seal and Nullify, you're going to have access to staggers whenever you crit that are going to eat up the Furies. So don't have to worry about that. And then here we are going to get to our L2. Now we're in our L2 cycle, and we are just going to keep cycling this girl down with some L2s. Also on this node, if you'll notice Mixmaster failing sometimes, Mixmaster is actually subject to ability accuracy reduction. So there, I ended a combo with a medium into my L2, or sorry, I did medium into L2, and then I started my next combo with a medium, and I knew it could fail, but I only did one hit in case the evade triggered. Didn't want to get punished. But here we're going up to our next fight, which is going to be node 45 Killmonger with Hood. This is a pretty straightforward fight. This is a really, really common placement for Killmonger, and I think I took this exact fight 3 times last season, so this is the 4th time in this meta I'm taking it. Hood's a really good counter for Killmonger in general, because once you get into your cycle, the only hits that are contact are going to be your medium attacks, and the reverb is going to be, like, not even a factor. Honestly, I just completely ignore the reverb whenever I'm fighting Killmonger with Hood, because it's, like, such a tiny amount of the damage, or tiny percent of the damage you take. So we are going to have, obviously, Hazard Shift to deal with in this fight, but as soon as we get our first L2 up right there, you are going to be reducing the ability accuracy of Hazard Shift. And I'm not going to go out of my way to bait specials, but if Killmonger happens to throw them, then I'll just block the first hit, or if it's an L2, I'll dex out of the first hit, and then you can just use that to get a free tactic unblockable for a little extra damage. So yeah, well, I don't try to do it. If he wants to go for it, sure. That was a perfect opportunity to hit him with a heavy attack. I did know that I did not have enough hexes yet to kill, but I just wanted to go for the heavy attack, because I wanted to knock him down, and also I wanted an opportunity to be able to dash back naturally and reactivate my invisibility. So that's what we did. So that is going to be it for my main account, and now let's go over to my alt account from this war. We are starting out on Path 7, Section 1, and we have this Chee'Ilth on the first node. This is a pretty straightforward fight. I think you guys have seen me take this fight once or twice in last season, in those videos, and with White Magneto, and the strat is going to be basically the same. I can't throw any specials. Also, one thing I did not notice until after this war started is that I was running the Ghost Rider relic with Hood. I normally run the Scarlet Witch relic, but I think I had to switch it for some reason. And the downside of running the Ghost Rider relic is obviously you miss out on the bonuses from crossing a bar of power in the middle of your special attacks. But what also happens is that when you activate a striker, you are going to apply a debuff instead of a buff on yourself. So on a node like this, your relic debuff would trigger the damage reflection. So I have to be mindful here that I never throw my relic in this entire fight. So this fight is going to be only basics. When we have the opportunity to go for really easy heavy attacks like that, like I'm gonna do it. But most of the damage is going to be through basics. Just trying to get our bullets up. Bullets are not going to be an issue at all in this war, but I just want to be a little bit extra safe. And that fight does go down in 55 seconds, which is actually probably about 20 to 30 seconds faster than the fight takes with White Magneto. So, I mean, pretty good. Next up, very, very easy fight. We have an arcade on the Tranquilize Aggression Fury node, and Hood is a really, really good counter for Arcade, because when you're playing Hood normally, Arcade's just never going to gain his tokens because he never throws special attacks with how OP Hood's power steal is, his power control, and you're never going to be triggering poison immunity because Hood's not poison immune. So even on Hazard Shift, it's a really safe matchup. If I saw Arcade on node 44, Hood is who I would send 100%. And also, yeah, you're going to be doing some physical damage on your basics, but after your first L2 here, you're just going to be removing that, so you don't even have to worry about it. Also, if I didn't mention it before, I am running the full Trinity on this account, so I have my 2 synergy mates, or my other champions, I guess you would call it, are Mojo and Strife, so I will have a plus 50% damage bonus from the synergy while I am invisible, so that is going to apply to both my L2s and my heavies and my basics, but like the majority of the damage comes from the L2, and then the heavy, which detonates the hexes, also gets the plus 50% damage increase on the hexes, on like the red numbers. So next up we have Path 9, Section 2, and we have 2 fights here with Hood. We have this Gorr on the first node, going to be really straightforward. I think it's only going to take 2 L2s. Like, look how much damage we're dealing. This is only punching down 1 rank, and he's dead. I think this was a sub 20 second fight, or something like that. Yeah, 19 seconds. Just disgusting. It's such a good matchup. I think it's impossible to die to Gorr with Hood on literally any node. I cannot think of a node that you can't do that matchup, because you can even do it on a high energy diet. Anyways, next up we have this Hit Monkey, and he also has a very small health pool. Now, one thing that's cool about the matchup of Hood versus Hit Monkey is that the Fate Seal on your L2 gets inflicted on the first hit, or rather on the first hit that connects. And you can reduce the ability accuracy of his senses, of Hit Monkey's senses. So, when we throw L2 in this fight, both of the senses have a 65% chance to fail. And both of the times in that fight that we threw it, we actually failed both of them, which was really cool. That was, like, normally when you're doing this matchup, you're going to get 1 or 2 senses. Normally you'll have 1 L2 where it cancels out both, and then the next L1 you'll get 1, and so forth. But yeah, really easy matchup, small health pool. Hood's just a crazy nuke. Next up here we have Hood versus Attuma on node 39. Really easy fight with Hood if you know how to use him. You're just going to take advantage of Rich Get Richer at the start of the fight, activate a Dex, and that's just going to save you a PS1 boost. So I'm not going to use one here. I believe we are going to spend a little bit at the start, a little bit of time at the start of the fight, getting a couple heavy attacks off, but that was just to get some bullets back, and if it doesn't really distract from the tempo of the fight, I don't really mind doing that. But yeah, we're just baiting heavies, and I think we're going to do it twice, just to get like an extra 6 back. Yeah, perfect. And now I think we're going to activate Dex, and just wait until we're at about a bar and a half to activate our invisibility, and at that point he is never going to be able to throw a special again, or if he does throw it, he's going to have Fate Seal up, so he's not going to trigger the Footloose or the steady, whatever that steady thing is called. It's the one with the stun immunity. But yeah, we just want to cycle L2s. Here I get dangerously close to a special 3. Here we do get to a special 3, but the fight's over, so it doesn't matter. And yeah, the L2 cycle with Hood is just so nasty. It's so unfair. And very easy fight. So let's go on to the next one. We have this Sersi on node 42, the Power Snack node. This is going to be pretty easy with Hood. Obviously, you do have to trigger Power Snack with your Dex before you activate your invisibility, for at least for your first special 2, because on your second special 2, you have a 65% chance of making Fate Seal fail anyways from making Power Snack fail from your Fate Seal. But yeah, we're just going to start off Sersi with a couple heavy attacks here to get back bullets. There we're going to trigger our Dex, and we are actually going to use our invisibility to punish the special 1, which is something you'll see me do pretty often in my videos. I do it again next war when I take Sersi on node 46, the enhanced power gain node. I take it with my rank 3 Hood. But yeah, really straightforward. If I ever see any tactic cosmics on this node that aren't Serpent, well, Serpent's not tactic. If I ever see any cosmics on that node, I'm basically just gonna take them with Hood because it's pretty straightforward. So we have our other hazard shift fight here. Here I was just looking at Killmonger to see what sig it was for when I took it on my other account, but we are going to take this Maestro on node 43. This is a pretty straightforward fight. I've done it with Hood before. Not really much to it. The only thing is obviously you're going to take a little bit more hazard shift damage right at the start of the fight because you don't have your PS1 boost, so you're not going to be able to obviously get there as fast. But after you get to your L2, the fight's over anyways. Unfortunately, the power lock means that we're going to have less combat power rate at the very start. So our first heavy attack to knock him down is not going to be giving us any power, but it's necessary to do that to pause his charges, so it's completely fine. There, we just get kind of unlucky where the couple hits that I do get to throw, none of them crit to inflict staggers, so I didn't really have an opportunity to stagger the debuffs, but right here we're going to be able to nullify, or stagger the buffs I meant. Here we're going to be able to nullify the buffs, so it doesn't matter that much. And then there we get triple resisted on a heavy. I'm like, bro. We had to heavy attack there to pause his charges so he wouldn't get into, I forget what the phase is called, where his buffs become passive and you can't remove them and you just have to land knockdowns to remove his charges. I forget what it's called, but anyways, we could have prevented that, but he got a triple resist on our heavy, which is just so, like, it's so unlikely, it's so unlucky. But you know, it's something that happens. So that fight goes down, and I believe we have one more fight here, which is going to be node 47 Gladiator, and I am actually gonna have a little bit of trouble with this fight because it doesn't exactly go the way I wanted, but it's like it never was actually in danger of me dying. Not even close. I still had the fight completely under control. It just went a little bit sideways. You can see going into this fight that we have all of our bullets, and also when we are going to be staggering his confidence buffs, we are going to get bullets back. So not something you have to worry about. But unfortunately right here, I think it is, on my second L2, we don't get any power steals on the last 4 hits. So he does go to a special 3, but it's okay because I hit a nice relic intercept and I do take him down from that. So that is going to be it from me for the first war. I did have a good amount of fights. They were just all relatively fast fights, with the exception of the Titania versus Enchantress matchup. But yeah, that's going to be all. We did take home the win versus Gods of War. I don't remember what the score was, but I know we had 9 deaths. So that is going to be 1-0 on the season for us. 0 deaths for me still on both accounts. My PSR is going to be 13 out of 13 fights soloed or 100%, 5 of which are on my main and 8 are on my alt. My overall deathless streak is going to be up to 21, and I have a 6 fight deathless streak on my main and a 23 fight deathless streak on my alt, because as you guys know, I decided to die on both accounts in War 10 of last season and throw away both of my deathless seasons. So my deathless streak is still pretty low. And then I died again in War 12 on my main. But yeah, that's going to be it. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.